hey babe, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going good, thanks. How are you?
I
Hang on,
am
hang on,
good.
hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. What is that? What are you drinking?
So this one is a little special of a non-alcoholic mojito. And
In
I've
a
put it in a
martini
martini.
glass.
Yeah, I thought I'd be fancy with a white top on as well for our listeners. So should we do a timer for how long it is till I spill it all down myself?
I am
So,
actually blown away by the bouginess of that. I
no,
bow
I just
down.
thought, well done me. I made it through Monday, and that is always the hardest day of the week, isn't it? Really.
If
So.
there's not a martini glass at the end of a Monday for you, then what are we even doing here?
Exactly. The weather's gotten darker. Everything's just feeling. So I was like, do you know what? A little bit of a treat.
I
I
nearly
can do.
messaged you today because I was sat at my desk going, oh, it's a bit chilly. And I was like, I know for a fact that Louise will have her heater blankie on. I know she
Of
will.
of course I will. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's been on for a while. So do you know what I mean? It's been a few weeks to be honest. It's get cold in this shed.
Yeah, in your
So
little like garden hut. I love your little office.
oh no, it's my little space.
Well, listen, I'm glad that you've got a drink in hand, my bird, because it's going to be quite a you heavy episode of the pod today because we
Mm.
are answering our listeners' SEO questions.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good.
So, usually, what we
Awesome.
do with the questions ones is we go through them and highlight this one sounds like a nay question, this one sounds like a Lou question. We haven't had to do that this time. It's Lou questions all the way down. So,
It's all about me. Yeah. No, that sounds good.
it's all about you and your martini today, my babe.
Hmm.
So we're
Cool.
going to
I'm
kick.
ready.
Are you ready? I'm so excited. I'm ready
Ready.
too. Let's do it. Okay, so we're going to kick right on in. We're going to give as much context and as much detail
Yeah.
as we feel that we need. Let's get going. So the first question is from Carly, and she
Mm-hmm.
asks, how can I measure how large an image needs to be uploaded?
Yes, that is a good question. So this is something that we often recommend in our SEO course and our SEO audits because it's something that slows down your site and it can be just such a quick way to get improvements on your website as a whole. And also if you're seeing any kind of weird image pixelation because it's trying to shrink it down, this is often the case. So generally you want to kind of get it the right size. So there's a few ways to go about it. One is a plugin that we can always like add in the show notes, but you can just put into Google, it's like image sizer plugin. And that will be like a Chrome plugin. So you can click it, you can hover over an image or click an image, and it will tell you the size it is. So you kind of want to make your website as big as possible, like as your desktop can be, and you want to measure it. But for a rough idea, in case you don't want to get the plugin or you're kind of making it out like you're creating it before, for a background image or something that takes the whole width, you're looking at 120 pixels by 1080 pixels.
Sorry, 1920 by 1080.
What did I say? Yeah,
120.
120. The complete wrong one, yeah. 1920. Sorry, that's
Perfect.
my dyslexia coming out there. That's just like, let me just muddle up all of those numbers. Um, and then for blog images or for images that are going to take up about half the size, so really these will kind of be most of the other images, you're looking at one 100 1200 by 630 630. I can do it. So yeah, that's a rough idea. And another really good one as well while we're talking about images is, as always, if it has a background, like a transparent background, then it can be a PNG. Otherwise, always make it a JPEG. The size of the file is a lot smaller when it's a JPEG. So if you don't need the background to be see-through, such as like on like a background that has a pattern, so you don't want kind of like the white box around it, that obviously needs to be a PNG. But if you can make it a JPEG, always go for that one because it's always smaller. So that's my other little tip in there as well.
It's a little image top tip because people don't realize, do they, how much oversized images like slow your website down, and a slow website is bad SEO.
It is definitely, and that is the one of the biggest reasons as well for websites to slow down. It's just that you'll have, and of course you want your website to have lots of images, and we don't want to take that away. But there's lots of helpful tips that you can kind of make them smaller. There's also like online, there's image compressors. Again, give that a little Google. And that amazing what that can do and how much it can shrink it. You know, when you've made it in Canva, it's giving you the most perfect pixel, you know, same with Photoshop. You know, they go quite big in sizes, but it's amazing how you don't have to lose that image quality and be able to actually compress that file size down. So I definitely recommend that. It does take time, like all these things, but it's well worth it speed wise, I would say.
Definitely. Just one more note on image compression as well, because I think this is something that people don't realize. Any photo that you've taken on your iPhone or in any kind of digital camera will be 300 DPI, which means dots per inch. Screens can manage 72 DPI max. So that's just wasted data. If you don't compress them to be screen resolution focused, it's just wasted data. You've got huge images for no reason. You're getting no benefit. So definitely compress them.
Yes. Good tip there. Well done.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. It's almost like I do this for a job.
Mm.
All right, then. Question number 2. Jen asks, how do I choose the right keywords for my business? This is a big one. So I know that we're going to talk for ages about this.
Yes, this one is a big one. And and we're not going to have like a complete solution there. We do have a complete solution though in our SEO course. So if you're interested, little plug there. But yeah, because actually in our course we actually have a whole module on it because it is such a big topic. But good things to know is look at your competitors. What keywords are they using? Again, you can get plugins that will kind of tell you the keywords. You can also use a really good is Google Ad Planner. And so that one you can put in to say if you were selling like wedding stationery, you can put that into it and it will kind of generate some more keywords and you can look at how many competitors, so how many people are using keywords, like how many other websites are trying to bid to use those keywords and adverts, how many searches they're getting, and kind of related searches as well. Because it's really difficult, and we actually have like there's actually 2 types of keywords. So there's short keywords, and there's long-term keywords. So short is wedding stationery, whereas long keywords would be more like wedding stationery for quirky couples, that kind of, and they're often the ones that would be more like you can often get from blog posts is a really good way to kind of target them. And the reason why you have those 2 options is because that long term, it may be something that someone's Googling, but it'd be hard to kind of get it into a sentence. So you'd put it into a blog, but it's quite specific and there'll be less competitors going for those. So they're really good. But I think use a lot of like natural language, and I think everyone gets really hung up on keywords and that they've got to fill it in and like fill it in your kind of page title and your page description. The amount of times we just see a big chain of keywords of like of every kind of service that they do. Google doesn't like that. I mean, and also your users don't like that. I'm not going to click something that just has a whole list of all the services you do. I want to be sold to. I want in that kind of description, again, using that natural language that you provide wedding stationery, but for quirky couples or at a good price or, with a 20% off, that is where you put in, again, natural language is so key. But Google Ad Planner is a good one. Look at your competitors and what kind of keywords they're using. Like, what are they putting as their titles? What words or phrases are they constantly using throughout in those heading sections? Because that'll be often where people try and put it. I think that covers it. Is there anything that you can think of as well? It's a tricky one because it is a massive question.
Yeah, so it is a massive topic. I think you covered Google AdWords, which is one that I really love to use. Another one which is particularly brilliant for long tail keywords and sort of more focused search terms is Answer the Public, because you can just put in a topic. So I use it quite a lot. So I'll say like Squarespace templates, and it will actually show you all of the different questions that are being put into Google. So that's a great way to find topics to blog about. That's a great way to make sure that your homepage and about and all of that content answers the questions of the people that will be searching for them. So definitely check that site out as well. It all comes with like a really handy infographic which I really like because I'm quite a visual person. So I find that really easy to digest rather than sometimes you just get them in kind of spreadsheet format. So Google Ad Planner and Answer the Public are my two top tips for that one as well.
Yeah. I think with the short keywords, they should come naturally if you have got good content. If you're talking about how your product or service can help your ideal customer, that it should come out naturally. And otherwise, I would say, relook at the content that you're writing for your website.
Hone your USP, and then your keywords should naturally come from that.
Oh, using all the jargon. USP.
USP. Okay, so let's go on to the next question, because this is another biggie, but I know I'm pretty sure you've answered this on a previous podcast, so I think that you'll be fine. But Hannah asks, should my services all be on one page, or should I have a separate website page for each different service?
Right, good question. One we get a lot as well. So fortunately, it's one of those ones that it depends. I think if your services are extremely similar or quite small, as in you can summarize them up quite well, then yeah, keep them on one page. However, if you're able to write multiple paragraphs about the service, about what it includes, how it will help the customer, maybe different pricing packages that you offer with it, who you've helped, I would always say split them out. For SEO terms, it definitely makes a lot more sense, because from Google's point of view and your user's point of view, that page is about exactly what they're looking for. So I think you can really help. So we've got a kind of a studio that we help, and they've got kind of Pilates, yoga, they do kind of lots of different kind of things. And I may be someone who is just looking for yoga, or that's my search term. So it kind of helps in a lot of ways that Google's like, oh, this is exactly a page that is all about yoga and it's in your area. Absolutely perfect. So while obviously Google will pick up that this page is about yoga, Pilates, and all these other ones, if you've got a single page and it's so clear what it's about, that can only help your users. Again, it does depend, because you don't want a page with lots of duplicate content, because it's kind of saying the same thing, and all you've done is just kind of change the service name to try and hit those SEOs. They're called like black hat SEO things, or like they're just old style SEO tips that Google and everyone else is well aware of, and they do not work anymore. So the content does need to be natural and flowing, and you do want a page to be full. There's nothing worse than just like having a page and it's got a couple of sentences on there. You're like, oh, okay, because it looks like it's not really done. It looks a little bit unprofessional. So if you can though, and if you've got that content, yeah, I would always recommend to split it out across, and have one main services that list them all, and they split out into the multiple services that you do.
Yeah, I think that sounds exactly right. And you then give your users the opportunity to do a little bit more digging and a little bit more research into your brand, which is always wonderful. But yeah, I love your point about like, if they're different by like this much, if they're the same service but packaged up slightly different, put them on the same page, because there's no point those being separated out. No one's gonna go to a different page, read one sentence of content and be like, okay, great, like what was the point?
Absolutely. So, and sometimes as well, this is probably more marketing, the Goldilocks effects as well, which is that you have 3 service packages, one which is the low cost ticket entry, one which is medium, and one which is high. They're often very similar services with just a kind of few added on, and the idea here is that the user goes, oh, that one doesn't include really everything I need, like the lowest one. The middle one does actually like look good, and there's an extra grand or something onto it, and you don't get that much more. So that middle one is perfect, and it increases the user's like idea of how much it is. So in some aspects, it is good to do that if you've got that kind of Goldilocks.
That kind of tiered system.
Yes, it can help in that aspect. So again, it does depend on your business model and how close they are. But in that example, as we said, they're very similar. The only difference there is they've got a couple of add-ons. In that case, they should be on the same page. So I think that's probably a clearer idea.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think we're all familiar with the kind of service page with the 3 blocks beside each other of different. All right, babe, super helpful. We've got an anonymous one. Anonymous question. So Anon asks, how can I improve the load speed of my website? So we talked about this a little bit already. So
yeah. So as we talked about it before, so images, massive one. That one is probably, when we do the SEO audits, that one is always like kind of top on there. That is kind of slowing down sites.
Compress your
Another one
images,
is,
people.
yes, absolutely, and make them the right size and make them the right format. So JPEG, PNG, as we've discussed. Not super long pages as well. Sometimes a lot of people, maybe it was that they started with like a one pager website, which can be useful for kind of starting off, or if you don't have much to say, but they quite quickly get too big, and then the page speed is slower, and the SEO is a bit wonky anyway. But so yeah, so not super long pages. If you are finding you're kind of scrolling like maybe like 4 or 5 times, you need to start splitting up that content, kind of see where it makes sense. Also, a good content management system. So most people now, for their websites, unless you've got a developer on hand, which many small businesses don't, use a content management system. So that's things like Squarespace, Wix, Shopify,
WordPress.
there's WordPress, there's loads. But the one that you use, so what that's doing in the background, those content management systems, they are loading lots of scripts in the background. They're loading all the code to make it all work, and they all work in kind of different ways. So which one you choose, there's lots of comparison blogs about them, but that does kind of affect the speed. But one that we always get all the time is like WordPress is particularly slow because it's used as an old system. They have had updates, but the main core of it, of how they work and how their databases work, using PHP, it's slow. So that one is one that we often move people away from. So that one's a good one. So make sure your content management system is known for being speedy and has inbuilt good SEO is another good one.
Cough, Squarespace, cough.
Yes, yep, is a great one. Google Fonts. So for your fonts, often a lot of the content management systems come with Google Fonts. And so that means they're ones that are usually cached already in the user's browser, and Google likes them. They're pretty fast. They're well known to be good. However, maybe you're branding, you've got custom fonts, which does look lovely, but it's an extra load, it's an extra speed time, and it will slow things down. And actually, Google marks you quite far down on it because there's like a shift on the page. I don't know if you've ever loaded it, and what the font is one and then it shifts into another. That's what that's doing. It's like replacing it once the font is actually loaded. So that one can slow it down. And also remember, that's on every single page that's going to slow on your website as well. And finally as well actually there's a few more. Adding extra code and widgets. So these can be things like embedding a YouTube video. Now, embedding a video can be really helpful, a really great marketing tool, especially on like something like a landing page or a home page, or like to give that real personal feel. But I would still limit it. Really, you don't want don't have 5 on there. Like that's and or if you're using tools such as like a widget for reviews or a scheduler, or there's lots of or like an Instagram feed. If your content management system doesn't have one and you're bringing it in, all these extra little widgets are extra bits of code that needs to load. So again, they're fine to use and they can be helpful for marketing in some ways, but try not to put it all on one page, because that's when it starts to really, really slow down. And then finally as well, like animated backgrounds and like animation in general and all the fun stuff. It really is a balance. So animation that is using CSS is a bit more technical. CSS, which is often what we try and use, is super fast. There isn't any scripts to load, and it's very, very lightweight. But that's often why not many people use it, because it can be harder to get the look and feel that you want. So there's lots of animated backgrounds. So Squarespace has it built in. I think Wix has it built in as well, and Shopify and all these ones, and they are good. But again, just try and limit it a little bit, because using too many of them, it's just a heavy load on the computer, and you will start to see it kind of slow down, and especially when people are using mobile and things like that. So something to think about. So as you can tell, I'm passionate.
I think it's important to say, like, we're not saying don't use these cool things. Like, we're not saying don't use animated backgrounds, don't use animations. We love all this kind of stuff. Like, we think it has a really strong place in websites, but like Louise says, use it sparingly. Don't have
Yes.
your entire website have an animated background with videos embedded on top and different animations moving all over the place, 6 different custom fonts and images that are massive. All of these things are going to have a really negative impact. It's about finding that balance between speed and all of these cool little additionals.
Yes. Yeah. And it's constantly checking it on other devices, on lower devices such as like tablets, on mobiles, those kind of things, and making sure, because we often have to like kind of frame it back a little bit, maybe on our templates, so it is definitely that balance, but they can also be such great design and marketing tools as well. So, don't just say, oh, it's an absolute no. Again, it's that balance, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
because
life.
the fastest website in the world would look pretty boring. So,
Yes, it would be
have to.
text on a white background. There you go, super fast.
Woo. All right then. Next question. Oh, Louise, you're about to have a good time. This is an AI-based question.
Oh, yay.
Ellie asks, how much can I use AI to create the copy for my website? So I guess they're talking content and text,
Yes, yeah. So good question. Obviously, ChatGPT being the biggest one, but now there is lots kind of out there, and I know that content management systems are building it in as well to kind of help you. And I think it's also a growing space as well. So just to this is 2023 coming to the end of like 2023 Q3. Who knows where we're going to be next year and how it will kind of progress. But for now, I would say, and as a rule of thumb, use it for idea generation. I definitely wouldn't use it for all of it, and I wouldn't just kind of copy and paste it. It can be really helpful for grammar. It can be really helpful for getting that tone of voice, but there's several issues. So we've also got a podcast on this AI if you'd like to know more. But I'm all about the plugin today. I'm doing very well.
I'm very proud of you, darling. Very proud.
Thank you. So yeah, it really is great for idea generation, but it will lie, and it will lie often. So make sure whatever you're talking about, you know your stuff, so you can actually fact check what it's saying. And you can also put that text through. There's like online tools that can check if it's been AI generated, because Google, they haven't outrightly said it's definitely a no, but they're not going to like obviously a load of AI generated content, so they're going to start marking it down. And also, it sounds very wooden. A lot of people read it. There's a reason why, and people can start to kind of pick up that it is kind of written by ChatGPT and stuff like that. So I think for idea generation, it's great. And also when you're writing on your website, so whether that's content about you or your services or even about a blog, why wouldn't you want it to be written by you? And I as someone who really struggles with writing, it's very difficult, but I want the whole point is like to share your knowledge about whether it's your business, about you, about your background, for idea generation, fantastic. But I really think you should be kind of writing it yourself and use it as a tool, again, for grammar, tone of voice. It's a tool. It's not, it's not someone that you've hired.
Absolutely. I think as well, how long has ChatGPT been mainstream now? 6 months?
Yeah.
So already, right, in 6 months, I can now spot, even if they've put it through the generators and they've changed it up as much as possible, I can spot AI generated content a mile off now. There are maybe 10 or 15 like stock phrases that I've never heard anywhere else that ChatGPT use all the time. They are secret source. As soon as I see anything that says like this is the secret source, I'm like, that's ChatGPT. Anytime I read in this digital age, I'm like, oh my God. It's funny, isn't it? So yeah, I think even if it's passing the Google Authenticator text stuff, when you've like generated a load, that doesn't mean that people won't be able to tell. And Google will catch up soon anyway. So I totally agree with you, Louise. Get some bullet points, get your like ideas put together, I like to use, there's prompts out there that you can do like market research and things like that, which I think is really clever.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're generating like huge lengths of text, it's a no-go.
No, definitely. I think it's just something to it's a tool, and you've just got to learn to use it wisely. It's a tricky one.
Love
Wisely.
that. Right,
In our
I'm going to wrap
digital
up.
age.
In
Is
our
that it?
digital age,
It's in our digital age. You've got to
the
learn.
secret sauce to content generation.
You're
God,
right. Who does say that? Jesus.
no one says that. Okay, last question. We're going to wrap up after this because I'm conscious
Yep.
of our time. So this is from Laura, and she asks, how can I assess my analytics when I get hardly any traffic?
Oh, now that is really tricky because there isn't anything to assess, unfortunately.
Yeah, you need the data.
That's what analytics is. It is about getting the data. So rather than trying to assess it, you need to be building up the traffic. And I would just focus on that. There's no point working out whether they use desktop or mobile, or what gender they are, or what operating the systems they are, which is, or how they came here. You just need people to go there. You just
Yeah.
need to kind of get that traffic first, to be honest. Analytics on your website is really useful for making sure you're getting your target audience, making sure that you're actually getting those sales, making sure that they are not having any pain points and doing the journey you want. You're
Yeah.
not at that level unless you have anyone going to your website. So you don't need to worry about those questions quite yet, So I would say really actually just spend it on building up that traffic. So getting backlinks, so sharing on socials,
Yeah.
writing on forums as well, because you'll often have like a kind of like a profile where you can put your website, and it's amazing how many clicks you do get from that. Put
Definitely.
yourself into directories. Yeah, just keep sharing it. Try and do guest blogging. It's all about those backlinks, and also keep blogging. And like we have found, we were talking about it today, weren't we? It's so tricky because it takes ages. It really does take so long. So the work that I think we found, it's actually been so much longer than we thought, like 6 months. The blog posts that we wrote 6 months ago are now doing fantastic and getting a load of traffic, which is great, but it is a 6 months time, so
Yeah.
you've just got to keep doing it, and you can't give up, unfortunately. But yeah, I
There
promise
is
it's
no,
worth it.
it is worth it, but yeah, there's no quick win with this sort
No.
of, unless you are one of the lucky few that has like an Instagram reel go completely viral, or you have like a pin that goes viral on Pinterest and suddenly you're getting sort of tens of thousands of clicks from there to your website.
Yeah.
The likelihood, but that's not sustainable, easy to maintain traffic anyway. That's flash in the pan stuff. We want to be building that steady, sustainable traffic to your website.
Yeah. Also, about those kind of like one hit things, whenever you speak to someone who said they just had a pin or a reel go viral, guess what? That wasn't their fifth one. That was their 200th, reel. It's never their first 10 that does it. Again, these algorithms kind of work in the same way. You have to keep doing it. So even those kind of ones that suddenly go viral, they, I hate these kind of like overnight success. It's not at all. They've been working at it for years. It's just no one saw it,
Yeah. It's just, no, absolutely. I think it's so important to highlight that, because websites are an incredibly important thing for every business owner to have for a myriad of reasons.
Yeah.
Quick success is not one of them. It is very much a long-term success goal. They are for businesses that are serious about their growth over the next year, 2 years. And that's when the benefits of SEO, the benefits of having a great website will start to impact your business. If you want overnight success, I don't know what the answer is. It's money.
I would say it's money. It's money.
To funnel money.
You throw money at it, and like either get, some sort of influencer to endorse it, somebody to do a massive ad. If you've got money, you can get that overnight success. Fantastic. But, most of us can't. And also it is a bit quick, and it will kind of go just as quickly often, isn't it, really?
Yeah, that's true. Easy come, easy go.
That's it.
Yeah.
In our digital age.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep using that now to try
Oh, God, I love it.
Trick you to thinking I'm AI.
Well, you're doing a bloody good job of it, you little robot.
Mean,
As if. Well, we have a couple more questions, but we're running out of time. So we're going to bank those for the next time we do one of these. And we definitely will do another of these, because people love them. We love them. And I think it's just good to get specific answers to people's actual questions. So
yes. Yeah.
good times.
So sounds good. Perfect. Well, yeah, because I finished my martini glass now, so it must be finished.
Oh, wow. And
Yeah.
it was, sorry, that was a virgin, wasn't it? You weren't
It was. I wasn't just chatting about AI. No, it was a non-alcoholic because I'm a very exciting person.
you sure are, my babe. You sure
Oh, I
are.
know.
Right. Well, this has been
Perfect.
an absolute pleasure, as always. Thank you so much for joining me on the pod today.
Well, thanking you very much.
Thank you, darling. And to our lovely listeners, we will catch you next time.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye.